Hello, my name is Stephanie Nicole Divito, and I'm a freelance instructional designer. Today, I'm going to be giving you an overview of Milanote. I use Milanote almost every single day. I use it to keep tabs on my instructional design projects. I use it to brainstorm projects, collect research, save materials for projects, and even just take notes for courses and workshops. I actually don't just use Milanote for my instructional design projects. I'm also a writer in my free time, so I use it for the novels I'm working on, and I've used it for lesson planning when I was a teacher. Milanote is an app that allows the user to create visual boards to help them organize projects. There are various features within Milanote to allow you to organize projects like notes, columns, and multimedia uploads. I will show you what that looks like in Milanote in this video. Milanote can be accessed through a web browser, or you can download the app onto your computer. With Milanote, there is a free version, a pro version, and a team version. The free version only allows the user to use 100 assets within the app. The pro and team version gives you unlimited access. The pro version is for an individual and costs $9.99 a month. And the team version is for an organization that costs $49.99 a month. Both versions have the option to bill annually as well. So this is what it looks like when you open up Milanote. I think the most important thing to remember about Milanote is that its main selling point is its boards. When you open it, you will be taken to the home page where your boards for your main projects will be. Here I have all my projects. I'm going to click on the instructional design board so you can see how an instructional designer would use Milanote. As you can see, I have 4 different boards within my instructional design board. I have my website board, my board for notes I took for IDLE's Do It Messy. I have the same type of board for eLearning Freelancer Bootcamp. Then I have my projects board where I keep all my information for the different instructional design projects I'm working on. Also, you'll notice that I have little relevant notes I keep here. It's kind of like a little post-it reminder. By the way, it's important to point out that this is how I use Milanote as an instructional designer, but the way you customize your boards within Milanote might be different. Now let's look at each board. This board is where I keep all my information about my website. I have my color palette here along with the hex codes. I also have the different images I use for my thumbnails, my background, my logo, and my contact page information. Basically, any image I would use on my website would go on this board, and even any image I've used in the past. For example, I had a learning materials thumbnail when I did my Do It Messy for IDLE. I don't have it there anymore because it doesn't really fit with my portfolio, but it's something I might want to use again. So I keep it in this board. Next, I'll show you how I take notes as an instructional designer. We'll use my IDLE Do It Messy notes as an example. This is pretty straightforward. Here are just some notes I took for what I learned in IDLE. Also, I use screenshots in case I need it for any notes I might need. Milanote has its own template for its note taking, and this is what I use, but if you take notes another way, you can just start with a blank board. Now I'm going to show you the part you all want to see, and that's how you organize your projects. I have a board for each project I've worked on. I also have a list for potential topics to create e-learning to include in my portfolio. Now, I'm going to show you one of my projects. I'll use my thematic analysis board as an example because this one is complete. Every asset of this course I have on this board. So you'll see I have my outline, I have my storyboards. I keep every version of my storyboard so I can keep track of how it looks from one version to another. It also helps me edit it. Same for the infographics. I have both versions of my infographics because this one in particular, I love the before and after. And then I have my scripts for my videos. And then I keep every version of each course so that the clients can see what they like about the course, what they don't like, and just how we make those changes. And they can see what they like from this course that they want to implement in the final version, etc., etc. Now I want to show you something very important for not only as it pertains to instructional design, but any project you're going to do that might require some research. So I'm going to go back to my projects board. I'm going to go to the storytelling and e-learning board, and I'm going to go to this research board. Now, a research board is great for collecting any research you'll do for a course. So you can take this information, take notes, and use it for your course. Now, Milanote does have its template for a research board like it does with the class notes, but same thing. You can start with a blank board if you need to. Now, I'm going to show you how you create your boards. So we're going to go back to the projects board, and here you'll see the navigation bar for Milanote. So we're going to go to where it says board and drag it on to this board. Now you can make boards on your home page or you can do it within boards. So we're going to call this board right here demo board. So before I show you any features within a board, I want to show you in the bottom right corner where it says templates, and I'll show you some templates you might use as an instructional designer. First, I'll show you the two templates we already talked about, that being research and class notes. So first I'll show you the research template. And if I wanted to use this template, I would click on the button that says use this template. I can also keep the example content if I wanted. And there, you get the same structure you got in the example. This is the template for class notes. Another one I really like for my ID project is the brainstorming template. And there are some other ones in here that would be really good for instructional designers. The UX board would probably be very helpful. Same with the web design. But as I always say, you can also start with a blank board. Now I'm going to use this blank board to show you some of the features on Milanote, starting with the note. So if I want to add a note, I'll go to the sidebar right here and click and drag a note. I also have the option to just double click on the board and I'll get a note. The note's pretty easy. You just type what you need to type. And if you want to change the text or format it, you have the option on the sidebar right here. You can also add links on Milanote. So I'll go back to the sidebar, go to link, and drag it over. Now to add a link to your board, you're going to click on the link you want to add. You're going to copy it. Go back to your board. Paste. And hit enter. And the nice thing about Milanote, you'll get a nice little thumbnail when you copy and paste your link. This next feature is nice for projects that require multiple steps. So next, I'm going to go back to my sidebar and we'll do a to-do list. We'll drag it over like we did the other two. And already you'll have one item with a checkbox. So we'll give that item a name. And then when you hit enter, another checkbox will appear and you'll add another list item. Now, when you add a couple list items, it'll ask you if you want a title for your list. So we're going to click yes, and we'll call this demo list. And then one more thing I want to show you with a to-do list is when you add a few more items, and then we're going to click the check boxes for a couple. And then Milanote will ask you if you want to delete the completed tasks. So we're just going to say yes. With the to-do list, you can also see on the sidebar, you can give a due date for the tasks. And then you also have the ability to assign tasks to someone else on your team. You can also use lines on your board to show how different items are connected. You can also customize these lines. So for example, you can take the arrow off the line. You can make it dashed. You can give it a label. I really like the labels because they explain connections. And you can change the color of the line. You can also make the lines thinner or thicker. The next feature I want to show you is actually one of my favorites, and that is the column. So I'll drag the column over. I'll give it a name. And if you want to add something to the column, you just drag it over and overlap it with the column. If you want to add a note, you can just double click. And you can add anything to these columns. You can add a link. You can add a to-do list. You can even add another board. You can add anything to these columns. There's no limit. As I alluded to with the to-do list, Milanote has some collaborative features. At the top right, you'll notice this share button, and you can invite your teammates to collaborate with you via email. This is very effective when you're working with graphic designers, and voiceover artists. And to chat with members of your team, you can add some comments as well. Here are some other features you have with Milanote. I'm going to click these three dots. And one I really wanted to show you is this color card right here. This can be useful to see your client's brand colors along with their hex code. So I'm going to click the card, and you're going to click where it says color, and then go to where it says RGB until you get hex. Now I'm going to type in the hex code. I'll use my turquoise blue as an example. And there, it has the name with the color, along with what the color looks like, and its hex code. This can be helpful for your team to see the color palette they need to use. Other than that, you can add a sketch. You can add a document. Now, to be clear, this is a document directly on Milanote. It's not a Word doc. You can also add audio. You have a map here. You can add a video. And you can also add a heading directly onto the board as opposed to on a note. Other things you can do, you can add an image from your computer. You can also upload a document if you don't want to use the Milanote document. You can also upload a PDF. And then you can also draw directly on the board. As far as Milanote's strengths, I definitely think its biggest plus is that you can use its visual board to reflect your thinking. Milanote is a nonlinear platform, which makes it perfect for sporadic brainstorming. I also like its versatility. It's not just a platform you use for instructional design. You can use it for a variety of different projects. Like I said, I use it to plan my novel. I even used it for lesson planning. Its collaboration feature is also beneficial so that your team can see your project ideas and add to the board. As great as Milanote's visual board format is for mapping out instructional design projects, there are some concerns with its use in the field. The first concern I want to bring up is pricing. If you use the free version of Milanote, you only get access to 100 boards, which is not enough if you want to keep track of all your instructional design projects. If you want to upgrade to the Pro version, it will cost you $9.99 a month or $120 a year. You may be more enticed to look for free options or cheaper options for project management or mind mapping. That being said, those free and cheap options are not equipped for project management or mind mapping the way that Milanote is. Also, as far as project management software goes, Milanote is actually one of the cheaper options. Another issue with Milanote is that there's no undo button directly on the platform. However, you can undo an action you want deleted. If you don't know, you can push Ctrl-Z or Command-Z if you want an action undone on Milanote. There's just not a button right in front of your face. If you are like me and were always looking for a way to draw your thinking, Milanote is for you. Even though I wish it were free, the free version is a great way to try it out and see if you like it. If you want to try it out, it's in the link in the description below.